I told my fiancé before our wedding that I was drawn to another guy and needed to test my feelings. He canceled everything and walked away. I'm going to be straight with you, I thought I was doing the right thing. 6 weeks before my wedding, I sat Vance down in our apartment and told him I needed space. That I was drawn to someone else. That I needed to test my feelings before we made a lifetime commitment. I actually used those words. Test my feelings. Like I was comparison shopping for a car. We'd been together 3 years. Engaged for 8 months. The venue was booked, deposits paid, invitations printed. My dress was hanging in the closet, still wrapped in plastic. His storm-chasing work had been insane that year. He'd spent half our engagement in the Midwest tracking tornadoes for research grants, but we were solid. Or so I thought. Then I met Thanos at an ocean conservation gala in April. He played the theremin, this bizarre instrument you don't even touch, just move your hands near, and something about watching him create music out of thin air did something to me. He was artistic. Deep. We talked about Mariana Trench ecosystems and vintage synthesizers and the philosophy of sound. Vance talked about wind speeds and barometric pressure. I convinced myself I was being emotionally intelligent by addressing this before the wedding. So that Tuesday night, I made coffee. Sat Vance down at our kitchen table. And said it. I need to tell you something, and I need you to hear me out before you react. He looked up from his laptop. He'd been reviewing footage from a supercell in Oklahoma, and closed it slowly. Okay. I've been feeling confused. About us. About the wedding. His face didn't change. Confused how? There's someone else. I watched his jaw tighten. Not physically. Nothing's happened. But I'm drawn to him. And I think I need to explore that before we get married. I think I owe it to both of us to be sure. Silence. Vance just stared at me. Not hurt staring. Not angry staring. Just processing. Who? He finally asked. Does it matter? Yeah. It actually does. Thanos. From work. The musician. He laughed. One short, bitter sound. The theremin guy. Don't do that. Don't minimize this. I'm not minimizing anything, Vera. I'm just trying to understand. He leaned back in his chair. So you're asking me to? What? Wait while you date another guy? I'm asking for space to figure out what I really want. That's the same thing. It's not. Are you asking me to wait while you see if another man is better than me? I froze. Put that way, it sounded cruel. But I pressed on. I'm asking you to understand that I need to be honest about my feelings. That I can't marry you while I'm thinking about someone else. Isn't that the mature thing to do? Vance stood up. Pulled out his phone. What are you doing? What you asked me to do. His voice was terrifyingly calm. Giving you space. He dialed. Put it on speaker. Hello, Pinewood Manor. Hi, this is Vance Rourke. I need to cancel my wedding venue for August 12th. My stomach dropped. Vance, wait. Yes, I understand the deposit is non-refundable. That's fine. Vance, stop. He ended the call. Dialed again. Over the next hour, I watched him systematically dismantle our wedding. The caterer. The photographer. The florist. The band. Each call exactly the same, calm, professional, final. I kept trying to interrupt. I didn't say cancel everything. I said I needed space. And I'm giving it to you. He didn't even look at me. You want to test your feelings? Go ahead. But I'm not waiting around to be your backup plan. That's not what this is. Then what is it, Vera? I couldn't answer. Because he was right, and we both knew it. By midnight, it was done. Every vendor canceled. Every plan erased. Vance went into our bedroom and packed a duffel bag. Clothes, toiletries, laptop. I stood in the doorway, watching, waiting for him to break. To cry. To beg me to reconsider. He didn't. He zipped the bag, walked past me to the kitchen, and did something that made my blood run cold. He took off his engagement ring and placed it on the counter. Right next to mine, the one I'd taken off before this conversation, telling myself it was temporary. 2 rings. Side by side. Keep both, he said quietly. You might need the reminder. Then he walked out. I stood there, staring at those rings, waiting for him to come back. Waiting for the grand gesture. The fight for me. The door didn't open. And that's when I realized, Vance wasn't coming back. The first week with Thanos was everything I thought I wanted. We met for coffee at this indie place he loved. Talked about soundscapes and bioluminescence and how humans are terrified of the dark because we're not designed for it. He was magnetic in a way Vance never was, all mystery and artistic intensity. But he never invited me to his place. Never introduced me to his friends. Every hangout was on his terms, his schedule, his comfort zone. "I'm just really private," he said when I asked about it. 2 weeks in, I woke up to a text. "Hey. Been thinking. You've got too much baggage. This isn't what I signed up for. Take care." That was it. No call. No conversation. Just a text and then silence. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I drove to the coffee shop where we'd met, he wasn't there. I checked his social media, he'd blocked me. The theremin player who talked about emotional depth couldn't even break up with me in person. And that's when the panic set in. I tried calling Vance. Blocked number. I texted from a friend's phone, delivered, but no response. I showed up at the Storm Research Lab where he worked. "Vance doesn't work here anymore," the receptionist said, barely looking up. "He resigned 3 weeks ago." Resigned? Where did he go? I'm not authorized to share that information. I drove to our old apartment. The lease was in his name. There was a moving truck outside. New tenants. "You looking for the previous renter?" the guy asked, hauling a couch. "He cleared out last month. Didn't leave a forwarding address." I sat in my car outside that building for an hour, staring at the windows where we used to live. Where I used to watch him come home from chasing storms, exhausted but exhilarated. Where he'd cook breakfast on Sundays and play awful pop music too loud. Gone. I checked his social media obsessively. His Instagram was private now. Facebook deleted. LinkedIn still existed, but his profile picture was just a generic silhouette, and his location said available for relocation. He'd erased me. Erased us. Erased everything. Our mutual friends? Suddenly cold. When I ran into Bridget at the grocery store, she actually turned her cart around and walked the other way. I caught up to her in the cereal aisle. "Bridget, seriously?" She sighed. "What do you want me to say, Vera? I want to know why everyone's treating me like I committed murder. You broke his heart 6 weeks before your wedding because you wanted to try out some other guy. What did you expect?" I was being honest. "You were being selfish." She grabbed a box of granola without looking at it. "Vance didn't just leave you. He left this entire city. That's how done he was." "Where did he go?" "I don't know. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you." She walked away. I started Googling him. Every variation of his name plus storm chaser or research or his university. Nothing recent. Just old articles from years ago. He'd vanished. At 2 a.m. on a Thursday, 3 months after he left, I broke. I opened my laptop and wrote him an email. Subject: "I'm sorry. I just need to know if this other guy feels right." I didn't even realize how bad the subject line sounded until after I hit send. The body was worse. Rambling, desperate, pathetic. I told him Thanos ghosted me. That I made a mistake. That I missed him. That maybe we could talk, just talk, and figure this out. I watched the screen for hours, refreshing my inbox. Nothing. Days passed. Then weeks. No response. I checked my spam folder. My trash. Even called my email provider to make sure it was delivered. It had been. He'd read it. He just didn't care enough to reply. I was deleting old emails one night, trying to purge anything that reminded me of him, when a LinkedIn notification popped up on my phone. Vance Rourke has updated his profile. My hands were shaking as I opened it. New city. New job title. Co-founder, Tempest, and Tide Luxury Design. The profile photo loaded slowly, pixel by pixel. Vance in a charcoal suit, sharp jawline, styled hair I'd never seen on him. He looked like a different person. Confident. Powerful. And next to him? A woman with copper hair, striking features, and a smile that said she belonged exactly where she was. Standing right beside him. I clicked through to the company page like my life depended on it. Tempest and Tide Luxury Design. Minimalist furniture with storm-inspired names. The Cyclone dining table. The Gale bookshelf. Each piece was gorgeous, sleek wood and metal, the kind of stuff you'd see in architectural magazines. And they were already in architectural magazines. 3 months. The company had existed for 3 months and already had features in Dwell and Design Quarterly. I scrolled through their Instagram. Every post was meticulously crafted. Behind-the-scenes shots of their workshop. Close-ups of wood grain. Testimonials from clients I'd actually heard of. And in half the photos? Her, Sloan Winters. Former architect, now co-founder. Her bio said she'd left a prestigious firm to build something meaningful with someone who understands vision. She was stunning. Not in an obvious way, more like she'd walked out of a French film. Effortless. The kind of woman who probably woke up looking elegant. Every photo of them together radiated chemistry. Laughing over design sketches. Hosting with champagne at a client dinner. His hand on her lower back at some industry event. But what destroyed me was how different Vance looked. The man I'd known lived in cargo pants and weather-worn jackets. He kept his hair short because it was practical. He wore his grandfather's watch and the same 3 pairs of boots. This Vance? Tailored clothes. Styled hair with just enough length to look intentional. Lean and muscular in a way that suggested he'd spent the last few months in a gym, working out rage. He looked like he'd stepped into a different tax bracket. I couldn't stop scrolling. It was self-harm, pure and simple, but I kept going. Then I saw it. A photo from a client meeting. Sloane's hand resting on a table, holding a pen. On her ring finger, left hand, was a ring. Gold band. Emerald cut stone. Delicate, vintage inspired. My breath caught. It looked exactly like the one Vance gave me. The one still sitting in my jewelry box because I couldn't bring myself to pawn it. I zoomed in until the image pixelated. Same cut. Same setting. Or close enough that it couldn't be coincidence. No. No way. He wouldn't. But the more I looked, the more certain I became. Vance had given her my ring. Or a version of it. I slammed my laptop shut and paced my apartment. This was insane. I was being crazy. Paranoid. Except I wasn't. 2 days later, Tempest and Tide announced their first major product launch. A full showcase of their debut collection, hosted at some upscale gallery downtown. Downtown. My city. The city Vance had fled. He was coming back. The event was open to industry professionals and design enthusiasts. You could RSVP through their website. I stared at the registration form for 20 minutes. Don't do this. You'll only hurt yourself more. But I couldn't help it. I needed to see him in person. Needed to see if this was real or just some elaborate social media facade. Needed him to see me, to remember what we had. Maybe, God, I'm embarrassed to even type this, maybe he'd see me and realize he still felt something. I filled out the form with a burner email address. Selected the box for +1 even though I'd be going alone. 3 days later, confirmation arrived. I was in. I bought a new dress. Black, fitted, expensive. Got my hair done. Told myself I was doing this for closure. To prove I'd moved on too. I hadn't moved on. Not even close. The night of the launch, I stood outside the gallery for 10 minutes before walking in. My hands were cold despite the summer heat. Inside was exactly what I expected. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs, beautiful people holding champagne flutes. Their furniture pieces staged throughout the space like art installations. And there, across the room, was Vance. He was laughing at something, his arm around Sloane's waist. She said something in his ear and he grinned, that same grin I used to see when he'd come home from a successful chase. Then his eyes swept the room. And landed on me. I expected shock. Surprise. Something. Instead, his mouth curved into a slow, knowing smile. He'd been expecting me. I tried to look casual. Like I was just another guest admiring the furniture. I drifted toward the bar, ordered a drink I wouldn't touch, and positioned myself where I could watch without being obvious. Vance didn't look my way again. He and Sloane moved through the crowd like they owned it, which, technically, they did. Shaking hands, laughing at jokes, completely in sync. I was planning my approach when someone tapped my shoulder. You must be Vera. I turned. Sloane stood there, 2 champagne flutes in hand, offering me one. Up close, she was even more striking. Green eyes, the kind of bone structure that didn't need makeup. She wore a simple navy dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. How do you know my name? Vance mentioned you might come. Her smile was warm. Genuine, even. Which somehow made it worse. I'm Sloane. I know. It came out sharper than I intended. I thought you might want a drink. These events can be overwhelming. I took the champagne because I didn't know what else to do. Did he really say I'd be here? He had a feeling. She glanced back at Vance, who was talking to someone near the cyclone table. He knows you better than you think. Before I could respond, someone clinked a glass. The room quieted. Vance stepped into the center of the gallery, microphone in hand. Thank you all for coming tonight, he started, his voice steady and confident. 3 years ago, I was chasing storms for a living. Literally. I'd drive into tornadoes with equipment worth more than my car, trying to understand something that could destroy me in seconds. Polite laughter from the crowd. I thought that was as close to the edge as I'd ever get. Then I survived a different kind of storm, one that destroyed everything I thought I knew about love and trust. My stomach dropped. He wasn't. He couldn't be. I'm not going to pretend it didn't break me. It did. Completely. His eyes found mine across the room. Held them. But here's what I learned. Sometimes you need to be destroyed to rebuild yourself into who you were always meant to be. The crowd was hanging on every word. I quit my job. Left my city. Started over with nothing but a skill set I didn't even know I had and a business partner who saw potential when I couldn't see anything at all. He turned to Sloane, who stood at the edge of the crowd, smiling. Sloane and I met at a networking event I almost didn't attend. I was raw. Honest about what I'd just been through. And instead of running, like most people would, she asked me a question that changed my life. What would you build if you weren't afraid? Sloane's eyes shimmered. This wasn't rehearsed. This was real. Tempest and Tide isn't just a business. It's proof that heartbreak doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning. He paused, letting the words settle. Some heartbreaks are blessings. Mine turned into a business. And into the love of my life. He crossed the room to Sloane, pulled her in, and kissed her. The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. I stood frozen, champagne glass trembling in my hand, watching the man I'd thrown away kiss someone else in front of 100 people. In front of me. When they broke apart, Sloane whispered something to Vance. He nodded. She squeezed his hand and turned toward me. The crowd went back to mingling, but Sloane walked straight through them, purpose in every step. She stopped in front of me, holding a small wrapped box. Silver paper, white ribbon. This is for you, she said softly. Vance wanted to make sure you got it tonight. I stared at the box like it might explode. What is it? Open it. Her expression was unreadable. You'll understand. My fingers fumbled with the ribbon. The paper. I lifted the lid. Inside was a frame. A small, simple frame containing a printed email. My email. The subject line in bold. I'm sorry. I just need to know if this other guy feels right. The body of the email was there too. Every desperate, pathetic word I'd written at 2 a.m. 3 months ago. My vision blurred. I couldn't breathe. There's a note, Sloane said quietly. I flipped the frame over. Taped to the back, in Vance's handwriting. Every great business needs a founding story. Thank you for giving us ours. V and S. The gallery tilted. I grabbed the nearest table to steady myself. He forwarded it to me, Sloane said, and her voice was still gentle, which made everything worse. The night you sent it. We just met at a networking event 2 days earlier. He was devastated. Raw. And honest about everything that had happened. I couldn't look at her. Couldn't look at anything except that email. Most people would have hidden that kind of pain, she continued. But Vance didn't. He showed up to that event broken, and he didn't pretend otherwise. That vulnerability? That honesty about being destroyed by someone he loved? That's what made me fall for him. Stop. My voice cracked. Please stop. I know this is hard. You don't know anything. I finally looked at her. You don't know what we had. You're right. I don't. Her expression didn't change. But I know what you did. And I know that he deserves someone who won't treat him like a backup plan. The words hit like a slap. The ring, I choked out, because I needed to hurt her back somehow. You're wearing my ring. Sloane glanced down at her hand. That gold band with the emerald cut stone. Then she looked back at me, and for the first time, her smile had an edge. The one you left on the counter? Vance had it redesigned. She held up her hand so I could see it clearly. He said the original represented a promise someone broke. So he melted it down and created something new. Something that represents a promise someone will keep. He melted it? Every bit of it. The gold, the stone, remounted, recut, rebuilt. She lowered her hand. He wanted to give it to someone who'd never take it off. My knees almost gave out. I need to leave. Vera. But I was already moving, pushing through the crowd toward the exit. People stared. I didn't care. I needed air, needed to get out before I completely fell apart in front of everyone. I was almost to the door when a hand caught my elbow. Vance. Leaving so soon? His voice was low, meant only for me. Let go of me. I just wanted to say thank you. He released my arm but didn't step back. For coming. For the email. For all of it, really. You're a B word. Maybe. He shrugged. But I'm not the one who gambled a future and lost. Tears burned my eyes. I hope you're happy. I am, he said it simply. Honestly. I hope Thanos was worth it. Then he walked back into the gallery, back to Sloan, back to his new life. I stumbled out into the night air and made it halfway to my car before the tears came. Violent, gasping sobs that I couldn't control. I drove home in a blur, that framed email on the passenger seat mocking me with every streetlight. I pulled over 2 blocks from my apartment and screamed. Just screamed until my throat was raw. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Saw you at the launch. Congrats on being a meme. Below the text, a screenshot from Instagram. The event photographer's story. My face, pale, shocked, devastated, in the foreground. Behind me, perfectly in focus, Vance and Sloan kissing, champagne glasses raised, camera flashes creating a halo effect around them. The caption. When your ex shows up to your glow-up party, skull emoji. 3,000 likes. 400 comments. And counting. By morning, the screenshot had spread everywhere. My coworker Ines forwarded it to me with just. Then my college roommate. Then my cousin. Then people I hadn't spoken to in years, all sending the same image with variations of "Is this you?" The comments were brutal. Imagine fumbling this hard. She really showed up to his revenge-era LM Woo. Main character syndrome meets consequences. This is what sleep around and find out looks like in real life. Someone had even made it into a meme template. My devastated face photoshopped into different scenarios. The Titanic sinking. A dumpster fire. This is fine dog. I called in sick to work. Stayed in bed for 2 days straight. On day 3, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I'd deleted but still recognized. Thanos. Damn, you really fumbled. Glad I got out when I did. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. This man, this coward who dumped me via text after 2 weeks, was gloating about dodging a bullet. I blocked him. Should have done it months ago. But the damage was done. Everyone knew. Everyone had seen exactly what I'd lost and exactly how pathetic I looked watching it happen. My boss pulled me aside when I finally returned to work. The lab needs to maintain a professional image, she said carefully. Maybe take some time off. Let this blow over. I wasn't fired. Just encouraged to disappear. So I did. For 2 months, I lived like a ghost. Worked from home when possible. Avoided social media. Stopped going to places where I might run into anyone who knew the story. But I couldn't stop thinking about Vance. One night in October, I did something I swore I wouldn't do. I wrote him a letter. Not an email, a real letter, handwritten on actual paper. No excuses. No justifications. Just the truth. Vance. I'm not asking for forgiveness because I don't deserve it. I'm not asking you to respond because you don't owe me anything. I'm writing this because you deserve to hear it said plainly. You deserved better. You deserved someone who knew what she had. Someone who didn't treat your love like something to be tested or compared. Someone who chose you every single day without hesitation. I wasn't that person. I convinced myself I was being honest and mature, but I was just being a coward. I wanted a safety net. I wanted you to wait while I figured out if the grass was greener. It wasn't. But even if it had been, what I did was unforgivable. Sloan is lucky. I hope you're happy. I mean that. I'm sorry for everything. Vera. I mailed it to the Tempest and Tide business address. Didn't expect a response. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. Plain envelope. His handwriting. My hands shook opening it. Vera. I don't hate you. But I don't forgive you either. You didn't just want space, you wanted a safety net. You wanted me to wait while you test drove someone else. That's not love. That's cowardice. You treated 3 years like they could be put on pause while you explored your options. I'm not your backup plan. I never will be. I hope you learn from this. Not for me, for whoever comes next. They'll deserve better than what you gave me. Don't contact me again. Vance. That was it. Final. Absolute. 3 months later, I saw the announcement on Instagram through a mutual friend's story. Vance and Sloane had gotten married. Private ceremony, close friends only. The photo showed them on a beach somewhere, her in a simple white dress, him in linen, both laughing like they just heard the world's best joke. The ring on her finger caught the sunlight. I stared at that photo for a long time. Then I closed the app. Deleted Instagram entirely. Threw out the framed email I'd been keeping in my closet like some kind of sick trophy. I stopped checking his company's page. Stopped asking mutual friends about him. Stopped Googling his name at 3 a.m. It took 6 months, but I finally let him go. Not because I wanted to. Because I had to. I'm writing this now, a year and a half later, because someone asked me at work yesterday if I believed in second chances. I'm at the aquarium where I work, standing in front of the deep sea exhibit. A kid, maybe 7, presses her face against the glass watching an anglerfish drift through the dark. Why do some fish stay in the dark? She asks. I crouch down next to her. Because they're afraid of what they'll see in the light. She thinks about this, nods seriously, then runs off to find her parents. I stay there, staring at my reflection in the glass. I wasn't testing my feelings when I asked Vance for space. I was gambling my future, and I lost. If you're reading this and thinking about doing something similar, here's what I learned. The grass isn't greener on the other side. It's just grass. And you'll spend years wishing you'd stayed home. Some mistakes you don't get to fix. Some people you don't get back. And sometimes, the consequence of choosing wrong is watching someone else choose right. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.